Steering wheels on all Defenders don't have airbags, so that's one really good thing, I guess, for fitment, but it's obviously not great for safety. But this is an early TD5, so the steering wheel on this is slightly different to a later one, but generally they all have a removable front piece, whether it be plastic on the really early 300 and 200 TDIs. This is a 300 TDI early TD5 steering wheel, which has just got this sort of rubber pad in the center that's supposed to save you in an accident. And then later on CD5s, I'll try and show you a picture now. This is what you'll be getting, and it's a similar sort of arrangement. So it's a pretty simple thing, but there's a few little tricks that I can show you to changing your steering wheel. Now, the steering wheel we're going to be fitting today is from Exmoor trim, and we're going to be fitting it with one of their shallow steering bosses as well, because that's a fairly important part of changing your steering wheel. You've got to remember that you're going to be changing the position of the steering wheel both fore or aft. Now, I like the position of our steering wheel at the moment, and I'm very conveniently locked that into dead center. I'll go back to that in a minute, but anyway, I like this position of our steering wheel. Now, if we put a traditional steering boss on there and we go for a dished steering wheel, there's a good chance that I can actually bring it forward by at least an inch, and that's going to make me too cramped. So if that was the situation for me and a standard steering boss, which is about that thick, I'd go for a flat non-dished wheel. Now, what we're fitting is a dished wheel, ever so slightly dished, but it is being fitted and mounted onto a shallow boss. But this is a good guide regardless of what brand you buy, because they're all pretty much fitted in the same way. So you remove your steering wheel that's existing on the vehicle, you replace the boss, and then you attach the steering wheel to the boss. Now, this is a 36 spline. It'll either be a 48 or a 36. Earlier ones had 36s, and then later on they went to a 48. So just check your number of your splines on your wheel, or give the guys who you're ordering it from details of the date of the vehicle. They should be able to work it out for you. Couple of things on this boss. You've got two pins here. That's going to be where we put our cancelling pins to cancel our indicators. Now, the one thing you do want to do is make sure that your steering wheel is straight when you're taking it off. Now, you don't have to lock it like I have, it's just happened to have locked in there. But that is obviously dead straight. So maneuver your vehicle a little bit, get the with the engine on, turn the wheel, get it dead straight, and then that means that when you put your steering wheel on, you know exactly where you are, and it's going to look good. So really simple, just pull this off. Now, with all of these jobs, when you're pulling something towards you, do be careful it doesn't suddenly bounce off and hit you in the face, because it's not going to be nice. Even though this is foam, it's still going to hurt. So just be very careful, just ease it off. It's pretty simple. Look, it's just got these little bushes here that sit in to the steering wheel. Get your socket, 22mm. You might need an extension just because it might catch on the steering wheel itself when you're rotating it. If it's locked, it's a lot easier because the steering wheel is not going to rotate as you're trying to undo it. Now, these can be tight, so if you want to add a little bit of penetrating oil, some WD-40 on there first, just leave it for an hour, let it soak in, you'll find it a lot easier. And also, I'll show you here, once we've got this nut off, so there we go, that was pretty much loose. That's not great. We're just going to undo our nut, so that's all you have to remove, and then you've got your star compression washer there. Invariably, if you've got an older vehicle, this steering wheel location here, the spline, will be seized on the spline shaft, and it doesn't matter how strong you are, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to pull it off. Now, there's two things you can do. With your nut and your washer off, just get some WD-40, spray it in there so it runs down the spline, and I'll show you what I mean when I get this off. But if it runs down the spline, you've got a much better chance of it cracking off. And the other thing to do is, before you start to try and pull the steering wheel at you, just bang it really hard. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay, that might look pretty violent, but what I'm trying to do is just rock it on the spline. So then I give it a little wriggle. I'm wriggling it like this, left and right, and I can feel it moving, and there we go. There's your splined area here. So if you need to count those to make sure you order the right boss, that's how you do it. And then this blue area here is actually our collar. So you've got pin top and bottom, and that corresponds with the gap on the blue collar top and bottom, and it just means it will cancel things out when we indicate and we've got the new wheel on there. What you've got to be conscious of is, obviously, you don't want to damage the face, so don't do it on something hard like a concrete floor. Lay it face down on some wood, just did it on a pallet outside, and just tap those both in so they're both equal. Now, that is pretty simple, so make sure you've got one at the top, one at the bottom. You've actually got some text on there as well, so you can see how it's orientated. And there's no need to put anything on there. I suppose you could put some anti-seize on here because you've got steel on aluminium. That might be worth doing. I'm not going to do it, but you could. And then it should there we go. So I'm going to use my new washer that they supply, my old nut. So this is a cheap aftermarket steering wheel off the shelf. Just watch how much flex is in this steering wheel. Okay, so there, bent it completely. Sorry guys, I probably shouldn't have done that, but I've done it anyway. That's completely useless, but in an accident, or if I'm off road, that is just going to collapse on me. Look, okay, absolutely useless. This one, however, can't get any movement out of that at all. So that's why you're paying extra for a proper steering wheel. Because the boss is machined to hold those nuts in the back, all you've got to do is just drop your machine screw through, take your nut, put it in to the hole in the back, and it will slot in perfectly. You don't need a spanner because it's holding it inside there already, and you just do it up. Now I'm not going to torque these up with this, I'm just going to get them wound in, so I'm going to put it on a low torque setting and then just go one at a time. Each one now just nicely tightened up. This is probably about 10 Newton meters. Okay, so we've got our steering wheel in place. Basically all of these have been torqued up. I haven't done this up yet. Now it'll work its way onto the spline, so it's going to keep going for quite some time. I'm not anywhere near 43 Newton meters yet. That is around 43 Newton meters. So, oh, it does feel nice. It does feel nice. Now, I don't know what it is, but it's just got the right amount of grip. So sometimes you can have too much padding on these wheels and you're not feeling things through the vehicle. This has got just the right amount in my mind to give you a nice feel. Now, included is this very nice CNC machined cap. When you get it, is an O-ring, and you can just see, hopefully. So the O-ring you get is just in here. You have to press it in. It feels a little bit big, but if you push it in all the way around, just make sure you've got the O-ring set into that cap all the way around. You can put a little bit of lithium grease on there if you wanted to, but I don't think it's that necessary. We'll just pop it on there nice and straight, and we're all in place. Now what we want to do is make sure that our cancellation on the indicator works. So if we indicate, there we go, and it's all working as it should. So you indicate right, you're fine, and then when you come back, it cancels off. So we've got our cancellation in place, the wheels in place, it's looking really good, it feels lovely. Yeah, so there we go. Really easy job. The quality on these wheels is definitely massively different to the aftermarket stuff that you might be used to. So you get what you pay for at the end of the day, and you know, I just think that looks amazing. Don't forget, we've actually got seat risers in this vehicle, so we've raised the seat up and made our legs close to the steering wheel. And what you've got to be very conscious of in that respect is getting in and out of the vehicle. But now we've got an inch more clearance, it's no bother to get in and out. I'm not catching my legs on there at all, look. So it's really easy to get in and out, loads of leg room, and I've got some pretty ample thighs. So yeah, I mean, I'm pleased with that, and I really like the position. So if I show you the difference in size, you can see here, look, this is our original steering wheel, and this 300 early TD5 steering wheel is a really nice wheel. It's got genuine leather around it. This was a county one, so the non-county ones didn't have this leather trim, so this is a nice wheel. I've always liked these, but it is quite big, so you can see the difference in size. We're actually going down a size, and I've got a similar kind of feel to it. It's not too thick, so I've got a nice feel. I can feel what's going on as far as the steering goes. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, what a fantastic upgrade.